I'm giving you an order, rookie. You save yourself first.
Help me, please!
What in God's name?
Oh yeah, we're talking about that. It's no secret on this channel that I absolutely love this series. I've managed to play and beat every single mainline entry while perfecting some of them. I said mainline! Resident Evil carries this odd place in my heart because I never started out liking horror games, and now I'm a sucker for them. My first taste of RE was the original on the PlayStation, where I started as Chris, ran out of bullets, and then died. And then a glimpse of 3 before watching my dad play Code Veronica. Ugh. And now with the PlayStation State of Play announcement of a remake of 4 with a release date of March of next year, I want to talk about the first game in the series of Leon Kennedy's adventures. With the first Resident Evil being released back on March 22nd, 1996, it will be 27 years later when we get the next entry in the series being considered one of the most honest-to-God classics of its time. It's crazy to think that this series has been going on for nearly 3 decades, starting from this.
Richard, what happened?
Oh, Jill, this house is dangerous. There are terrible demons. Ouch!
Is this?
That's right. This is the ultimate life form. Tyrant! Chris? Stop it.
What is this?
Wow. What a mansion!
Captain Wesker, where's Chris?
Stop it! Don't open that door!
Just a moment. I found something.
What is it?
It's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things. Better take it with you.
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
To this.
Longest spot to vacation, eh?
And so, I want to talk about the sequel that kickstarted one of the most recognizable franchises of a generation. Originally released back on January 21st, 1998, Resident Evil 2 picks up 2 months after the end of the first game, with new protagonists, Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield. While they're recognizable faces today, these two took a leap at becoming new faces to an ever-growing franchise. The two are headed to Raccoon City, a quiet, Midwestern town that has fallen victim to the T-Virus, bioweapon thought contained to the seclusion of the Arklay Mountains. The two are separated by a tanker and are forced to escape to a place of relative safety, the Raccoon City Police Department. Resident Evil 2 is touted as one of the best sequels of the time and pushed the hardware of the PlayStation to new limits, going from the reclusive Arklay mansion to the streets of Raccoon, more enemy sprites, more ammo, and emphasis on action, yet still retain the classic puzzles and exploratory gameplay of the original, with new enemies, locations, characters, a more focused narrative, and voice actors that didn't sound like garbage. Not to hate on the original, but there's a reason it's a meme.
Oh, Jill, this house is dangerous. There are terrible demons. Ouch!
You had 2 characters with different stories and supporting characters in different scenarios depending on who you played. In essence, you could have 4 very unique, different experiences with 4 different playthroughs, plus 2 challenge modes, a different difficulty. There was a lot to experience within this game alone. Well, fast forward to June 11th, 2018 and...
Jesus Christ.
it was coming in full remade fashion, like its OG counterpart. This is Resident Evil 2 Remake. Nearly 7 months later, it was released to overwhelming praise, but What made the game, well, the game? Like its original counterpart, you get a choice between either playing as Claire Redfield or Leon Kennedy, ending up at the same gas station where they encounter their first zombie. After putting it down, the two drive off to the city in search of shelter and answers, though are split by a tanker that separates the two within a wall of flame. Your starting character, either Leon or Claire, will dodge and weave through the zombie-infested streets and make it to the station, and despite the loudspeakers calling it a safe haven, it's quite the opposite. Encountering Elliot, who is mauled by zombies, and saved by Marvin moments later, your objective is set clear. Find a way out of this station, this city, and survive. Now, compared to the original, the tank controls, pre-rendered backgrounds, and fixed camera angles were all done away with. Replaced by a third-person over-the-shoulder view, movement was streamlined to introduce new players with ease and to appeal to series veterans like myself. Inventory management makes its return with key items, health items, ammo, weapons, and even defense weapons all take up space, though an item box isn't too far should you need to make a return trip. It's emphasized you should conserve your items and ammo for far more dangerous encounters. Inventory can be expanded by finding side pouches to increase overall space with a maximum of 4, so search away. Typewriters do make a return as well for saving the game, but the game itself has a built-in autosave function, unless you play on hardcore, which requires manual saving and ink ribbons to save all progress up to that point, meaning a simple mistake can set you back hours of progress. Puzzles are one of the primary gameplay loops as well. Some can be simple as finding an item and putting it in the hole. Others are simple logic puzzles that do throw you for a loop. Key items, such as keys and other special items, are needed to progress further into the game, with optional items that can be found to unlock weapon upgrades and new weapons themselves. Combat is more than simply aim and shoot at zombies. You could run and shoot, which is an improvement, but your accuracy and critical hit chance will be severely reduced. Standing still and allowing the reticule to shrink will increase critical hit damage. Aiming at limbs, such as arms, can make it easier to escape a grab if attacked from an angle. Legs to damage mobility to allow you to circumvent zombies. Should you be grabbed from the front, so long as you have a defensive item like a knife, flash, or a hand grenade, you can escape unharmed while doing damage in return. Though, back grabs and grabs from the front with no items will incur damage. Backtracking is also part of that same gameplay loop. Navigation is key when going through the game. As the police station opens up, more avenues of egress are given, which speedrunners utilize to follow a certain path and pattern. The short of it being that if you know where you're going and the optimal route to get there, you'll have a much easier time. Music, or lack thereof, is strangely non-existent in the game. Aside from the opening stings and ending sequence, it's hardly there, which to be honest is a downside, as the music in the Resident Evil games set the mood for the situation, especially the save room themes for each mainline entry title. Now, the workaround is to turn on the classic soundtrack, which unless you got a special edition, you have to pay for. Low blow, Capcom. However, the tracks that are present are amazing, from the individual boss fights to the escape sequence. There's so much love and reference to the series in them, and give a twist into the originals. Here, take a gander, but I won't spoil it. Bouncing off of music is the overall sound design of Resident Evil 2 Remake, from the streets of Raccoon to the police station, underground garage, sewer, and nest. Each area is filled with subtle audio cues and the sounds of the enemies themselves. From the unnerving sounds of the ivy, the audible groans of the zombies, the terrifying screech of the lickers, to the thundering footsteps of him. Speaking of...
Jesus, stay back!
Upon your second trip to the police station, you receive a twist to your navigation by an entity only mentioned in terrified whispers. The Tyrant, better known as Mr. X, stalks you through the halls of the RPD and cannot be killed, meaning your only option is to run or stun him, and run. He'll follow you until losing sight of you, then depending on how much sound you make, he'll head towards your location. Though he is persistent in the RPD, he shows up in other parts of the game to give you the friendly reminder that he's here to stay and ruin your fun. As Marvin suggested, this place isn't for staying, meaning you'll need to use all the tools above and your wits to make it out of Raccoon City alive. You'll discover more about Umbrella, the truth behind the outbreak, including characters that are only briefly mentioned but follow you through the whole game. Including in the spoilers, I'll be talking about the B scenario, but for the majority of it, consider it the A scenario for the sake of convenience. If you don't want spoilers, go to here. After Alpha Team and the sole survivor of Bravo Team of Stars return, they're all suspended for talking nonsense. But it wasn't. We saw those creatures. We killed them. That is, until we discovered that Umbrella is basically like any other corporation in selling handies and corrupto tickets to local politicians and chief irons.
He's the bastard that locked me in here.
I'm sure he had a good reason.
He did. I was about to blow the whistle on his dirty ass.
I wonder how much his remains would go for on eBay.
In secret, William Birkin is creating the G-Virus, and under the belief that Umbrella is trying to steal the research for their own, contacts the government to trade the virus for his protection. Though the Umbrella Security Service figures that out and lights up Birkin like Jeffrey Epstein.
I'll ask you one more time. Hold your fire! What the fuck were you thinking? Our orders were to bring him in alive.
But I just started yesterday.
With his dying breath, he injects the G-Virus into himself and kills most of the USS team while destroying the samples he stole. With the local rats feasting on it and infecting the water supply, Raccoon City is effectively destroyed and overrun with BOWs. Claire and Leon, who just happen to have different reasons for entering the city, discover this truth and run into William Birkin several times in their attempts to escape. So, essentially, the USS's ability to do a security round to Birkin essentially killed 100,000 people, though the pair do escape with Sherry Birkin in tow. My only argument I can say is that they meant to take him alive. It was an accident that killed a lot of people.
Damn, here I was minding my own business, just enjoying my Second Amendment rights, and you people have to freak out on me.
Sherry, being the daughter to William, who's neglected not physically but emotionally. The mom and dad are too busy working on their baking soda volcano to care for their daughter, so Claire takes her under her wing before she's kidnapped by Chief Irons, who, in a desperate attempt, tries to gain some leverage before he's turned into an unwanted orifice.
Your fault.
What?
Took too long.
What happened? Oh, God. Get off me!
Hey, I know, you've fallen and you can't get up.
Leon, meanwhile, runs into Ada Wong, a female FBI agent, investigating the outbreak, except she's a corporate spy trying to steal the G-Virus for those fat stacks and manipulates Leon to do her dirty work. The trio manages to escape to a train in the lower platform before dealing with Birkin and Mr. X respectively, and they lived happily ever after. Only...
Fuck.
Whoever you chose as your A scenario character has the other play a B scenario, which in reality is more of a remix mode and scattering of items in different parts of the game, while introducing Mr. X in the first visit to the station to fuck with you. Running through all the same loops, you make it back to the train, only now you fight Birkin's final form and get the true ending.
Here's some lead for you to recycle.
My biggest complaint is the lack of a proper B scenario. In the original game, you played through the game normally, but the other character, we'll use Leon for this example, would have to enter through the back way to the station, meaning you get context to events you didn't see, a different arrangement of items, different navigation, and the biggest change is that Mr. X appears. See, in the A scenario, he isn't even mentioned or told of. In the B scenario, he shows up throwing you for a loop, and now giving certain rooms an encounter with him. The only difference is the scenarios in the remake is an arrangement of items, the true ending, and that's it. The game is played normally. Upon completing the game, you get access to Hunk Scenario, the surviving USS member, which is a mad dash from the sewers to the front of the RPD. You have no item pickups, only what's in your inventory, meaning there's a lot of strategy and tactics to play, plus a huge spike in difficulty. They also have Tofu mode, which is exactly the same as Hunks, only you play Tofu, and you have only knives. Now, granted there are variations to it, but I didn't need it for 100%, so... Finally is Ghost Survivors, which is again like Hunk Scenario, only you play alternate characters in what-if scenarios where you try to get to the end, with a final fourth being the deputy killed at the beginning of the game, where you can escape after a wave defense in the gas station. Also, beating under a certain time and getting a certain rank gets you special weapons like the MP5, minigun, and rocket launcher. There are also alternate costumes and filters as well, but not as exciting as the others. Resident Evil 2 Remake, while it isn't perfect, is definitely worth picking up even if you have a passing interest in Resident Evil. It's available on PS4, Xbox, PC. The PC especially, with its ability to customize gameplay options for ease of access. This was yet another last minute review I just concocted, but that's because RE4 Remake is coming out, and I cannot wait to play as Leon again. Don't worry, I'll be covering the others as well, including the shitstorm that the remake gave. Happy Halloween, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Have a good one.